I'm Helen, and today's class is a practice for the root chakra, the Muladhara Chakra. The only prop you'll need today is a belt or a tie or a towel, anything that can extend your arms. We'll start lying on the back. So come down and bring the knees into the chest, and we'll start with Apanasana. So the whole length of the spine is on the floor. Bring the knees up and just hug them in. So releasing the shoulders away from the ears, just squeezing the knees tight. We'll just stay here for a few breaths. So just start to center in on the inhale and on the exhale. Just pulling the knees gently towards the chest, curling up in this little ball. So the root chakra is at the base of the spine and it's associated with the color red. The element is the earth element. And this chakra is all about being grounded, about our basic survival needs. Just the root of who we truly are. It's associated with the legs, the pelvic floor, and the first 3 vertebrae. So a lot of the poses today will be opening the legs, strengthening the legs, just getting into this area. And bring the hands to the knees and just take a few knee circles in one direction. And then the other. And then we'll start on opening the back of the legs. So I should have told you to have your belt close by. You've got it close by. Extend both legs out, long on the mat. Take your belt. And then lift the right leg up to the sky and just lasso the belt around the ball of the right foot. So you can keep this left leg bent if it's quite hard for you to keep it straight. And your leg may be extended at quite a small angle, depending on the openness of the hamstring. So the idea in this pose, we're opening the back of the leg up, leg channels, particularly the back of the knee. So don't worry if your leg is quite extended from your face. Do what's good for you. Flex the left foot, flex the right foot, and then keeping the right leg straight. Just gently pull it towards the chest. Make sure both hips are neutral. So there's a tendency for the right hip to hitch up here. Pull it away and aim it towards that left foot. Keep the shoulders relaxed and just breathe here, enjoying this stretch in the back of the leg. And then gently release that right leg. And we'll do the same with the left. So keep the right leg long, lift the left leg up. Push the ball of the foot into your belt. If you have the flexibility, you can also do this by wrapping the peace fingers around the big toe. Make sure that left hip isn't hitching up. And then just gently pull the leg towards the face. So I'm kind of at my maximum here, which is just past 90 degrees. This is, in general, the range of motion that most people have. It is just the start of class, so we're warming up, but I can really feel this in my hamstring. So I'm going to practice ahimsa, which is non-harming, non-violence, just going to where my body goes to its natural limit, not forcing. Using the breath. As you breathe and surrender and release, you may find that you can get a little bit deeper into the pose. I just felt my leg move a little bit more. Important to show patience in all of these poses, patience with our bodies and self-acceptance. And then release that leg, release it to the floor, shake them out, put the belt over to one side, and we'll come up to hands and knees. So you can roll up like a ball, come over the knees, and we'll come into child's pose. So bring the knees as wide as the mat, big toes together, seat comes back to the heels, allow the belly to come between the thighs, just extend the arms out in front with the third eye on the floor, and breathe here. So child's pose is a really grounding pose, and this chakra is all about feeling grounded and safe and secure, meeting all of our basic needs. You know, one of the most basic needs is security. When you're in these poses, in touch with the ground, you really can feel the support from the earth. And then from here, we'll move into a few rolling childs to cobra. So bring the knees to parallel, seat to the heels, hands extended in front, ground in the palms on the floor. And on an inhale, we'll come up through cat. And as you exhale, dip the pelvis and then bend the elbows, bringing the body down flat to the floor. As you inhale, come up through cobra. And then start to round the spine, rolling through cat, back to child. Inhale, lift through cat. Exhale, drop down, reversing the cobra. Full body contact with the floor. Inhale, head lifts. Round in the spine, back to child. One more of these. Inhale, lift. Feeling that movement through the pelvis, bending the elbows, coming down. Inhale, lift back up to cobra. Exhale, round in the spine, back to child. And then inhale, we'll come up to tabletop. So the hands are about a handprint in front of the shoulders. Tuck the toes and we'll lift the seat to the heels for downward facing dog. So just a little pedal here. We've already woken the hamstrings up a bit, so we'll wake them up a bit more. Great way to do this is in downward dog, walking the dog. We come to bring the heels to settle. Remember, they never have to touch. You can keep the knees bent. Then on an inhale, right leg lifts to the sky. And as you exhale, we'll bring the right foot forward for a low lunge. So bring the back knee down and descending the hips. Body comes up and just interlace the fingers above the knee. So descending into the hips here. I like to have a little pelvic tilt. So tilting the pelvis, and that way it opens up the left hip flexor a little bit more. Always breathing. And then inhale, the arms come up. And as you exhale, just bring this right hand down on the outside of the right thigh. Maybe it touches the floor, and lean over to the right. You can always use a block here if the floor's a little bit far away. Just opening up the side body. And inhale, we'll come back up. And then bring the hands down and bring the seat back for half split. So again, getting into the back of the legs here. all part of the root chakra, associated with the root chakra. And breathe. And inhale, come forward. Tuck the toes, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, left foot steps up. Back knee comes down. We come up. Low lunge. So descending into the hips, maybe that little tilt, and it's a very slight movement. You can feel a greater stretch here. Using the breath, front ribs are in. And then arms come up to the sky. As you exhale, tip over to the left. With this lateral bend, remember, you can always use your block. Never be afraid to use props, to bring the floor closer to you or make your arms a bit longer. When we continue to use props, it helps bring new neural pathways into the brain. Our body gets used to this pose because you've reached it and feels safe and allows yourself to open and go deeper, and eventually maybe you don't need the prop anymore. Props really make you stronger. And inhale, come back up. Exhale, plant the hands. We'll come into half split on this side. So getting into the back of the left leg. The root chakra is all about the foundation of our lives. You think about our legs are the foundation of our body. They keep us upright. They take us places. And our feet keep us grounded to the earth. Then inhale, come back up, plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. From here, look forward, and we'll just walk up to the front of the mat and come into a forward fold. So big toes together. You can bend the knees and just allow the body to drape over the thighs. So you can cup the elbows, allow the head to release. Really ground into all four corners of your feet. Noticing the connection with the earth. Being safe and grounded. If it feels okay, maybe you can straighten the legs. Maybe sway side to side. And then from here, we'll bring the hands to the hips and come up to standing. So moving into a great pose to strengthen the legs and the glutes. Chair. So as you inhale, sweep the fingers down and just touch the outside of the feet. Well, touch the floor on the outside of the feet. So this gives you the depth of your chair. And then inhale, the body comes up. Arms can be apart or palms together, depending on your shoulders. You don't want to flare the sit bones up to the sky. You want to try and keep this neutral here. Core is engaged, arms are up, and breathe. If you lift the toes, it really activates the core. We'll stay here for 5 breaths. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Then inhale, lift up, bring the palms to the chest, and we'll step out to the side of the mat for goddess pose. So this is another great leg strengthener. Bending into the knees, making sure the knees are facing over the toes, sitting down and bringing the palms to the chest, shoulders released. And breathe here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, straighten the legs. Bring the toes facing forward. Sit bones descend. Lengthen the spine and exhale, fold forward from the waist. So hands may come down. You might be able to widen your stance. Lengthen out the spine and exhale, descend. So bring the hands flat to the floor. Allow the crown of the head to move downwards. So great hamstring opener here. Great pose to feel grounded. Got the hands and the feet on the floor. And just allow the body to release. Your head may reach the floor too. Keep the core engaged here and use the core to really pull that body down rather than just gravity. Lengthening out of the spine and the pelvis. And inhale, look up. Exhale, hands come to the waist. Inhale, palms come back up. And just shuffle the feet in. So one of the best poses to really symbolize grounding for the root chakra is tree pose. So bring the big toes together, the heels slightly apart. Start to put all the weight into the right foot. This right side is straight and strong, and then externally rotate the left leg. You can bring the left foot to the shin. You can even leave the left foot on the floor, or you can bring it on the inner thigh. Whatever place that your foot is touching your leg, push both in together. Scoop this right glute under. Bring the palms to the chest. Lift out of the waist. Activate your root lock, your Muladhara Bandha. So root lock is all about the root chakra. It's just basically engaging the pelvic floor, and that gives you a real sense of inner stability. Maybe bring the palms up. Breathe here. Find a fixed gazing point. Imagine your foot is like the roots of a tree, and deep down into the earth, root to rise up. And then slowly bring the hands back down. Bring this knee forward and release. Shake it out. So this time grounding into the other foot. I'm not sure if I gave you actually the mirroring instructions or what I was doing. So just do the opposite leg to what you just did. So really ground into that foot, all four corners. Externally rotate the other leg. Bring the palms to the chest. Remember, you can always keep the ball of the foot on the floor. It can come to the shin, or if you feel comfortable, you can bring it up into the inner thigh, but really, union of opposites, pressing them against each other, activating that root lock, engaging that pelvic floor, really lengthening out the spine, feeling this nice column of stability, palms to the chest, and then maybe come up. So get your fixed gazing point. Breathe in here, imagining you've got roots coming out that foot, holding you safe and secure on the earth. Not being afraid to extend upwards. And then bring the hands to the chest. Close that knee, release down, and shake it out. So from here we'll move to the ground to do some seated poses that will really make us feel rooted to the earth. So I like to come to the ground via Muladhara. So feet are facing outwards, heels in, And then just bring the seat down into this low yogi squat. Remember, you can keep the hips lifted. I find this is a really grounding pose, being close to the earth. The center of gravity is very low. Allows you to lift through the chest. You here for a couple of breaths. I'm aware this can be a bit tough, this pose, if you've got tight hips. Used to be for me, but keep plugging away, keep practicing, and in time, hopefully you'll feel a little release in the area. And then release down. So we'll start with Janushirasana. So I'll face this way. So head to knee pose. Pull the flesh of the buttocks back. Lengthen out the spine, so you're stacking the spine directly over the hips. Then we'll bring this left knee in, and then I'll just allow it to fall open. Bring the sole of the left foot inside the right thigh. Lift out of the waist. Your knee might be up, or it could be flat to the floor, depending on the openness of the hips. And then exhale, lengthen out of the waist and come forward over this leg. So depending on the openness of your hamstrings and the flexibility in the pelvis is how deep you'll come down. Really try to extend out of the waist. Don't do this, because this isn't really doing anything. It's much better to be up here than struggling to grab this foot. If you've got your belt handy, you can always use it to make your arms longer. So do what's good for you. Ground in the back of the right leg into the floor with the right foot flexed. Breathing here. And as you surrender, you may come deeper. You may bring your head to the knee. And then inhale, lift up, come back up to vertical. Bring this knee in, release. Just shake it out in the hip joint, and we'll do the other side. So this time bringing the right foot in, hugging that knee close, and then allowing the knee to fall out to the side. This right foot is inside the left thigh. Lengthen out of the waist. And then exhale, come forward. So remember, grab wherever you can. Always use the belt if it's, make your arms longer if necessary. So never be afraid of these props. I use props all the time. And exhale, release. These asymmetrical bends normally show up imbalances in the body. My left hamstring is a lot tighter than my right. So I don't come as deep this side, but that's okay. Never worry about the aesthetic of a pose and how deep you get. All that matters is the sensation you feel, that you're not in pain, and what you learn as you do the pose, what you learn about yourself and the way you approach it, because it reflects what we do on the mat, reflects what we do in real life. Then inhale, come up. Release this right leg. Shake it out in the joint. We'll move into Pigeon Pose. This is a great pose to feel grounded in. So we'll start with the left leg actually. So bending the left leg so the shin is facing towards the short edge of the mat. roll onto this left cheek and then swing the right leg round. So tuck the back toes and walk the leg back. So depending on the openness of your hips is what angle this front leg will be at. If your left cheek is very elevated, you can always put a block or a cushion underneath it. Keep the hips neutral, facing forward. Release this back foot. Make sure it's straight and not sickling. Lengthen out of the waist and then maybe come down to the forearms. Or you may come down, forehead to the floor. And really surrender here into this pose. Just release, melt into the earth. And breathe. So the root chakra is all associated, as I said, with our basic survival needs, with our family, with our home, our finances, with social order. It's all about our primal living. And when we transcend this chakra, move upwards through them, when we're stable in this chakra, we break free of societal obligations and what's expected of us. And you'll see as we move through these classes how the chakras are wonderful metaphors for just our development as human beings. If you're ever feeling unsettled, maybe you've moved house or you're going through a divorce, this is all about the root chakra, because this is our basic, security and the basic things we need to exist. When we're feeling unsettled, that's usually a root chakra issue. So doing these poses, helping you feel grounded, is a way to balance that out. And then inhale, come up, rock back onto that cheek, swing this leg round and just roll out the femurs in the sockets, and we'll do the other side. So rocking onto this right cheek, swinging this left leg round, and then coming forward, keeping the hips neutral. Maybe if this cheek is a bit lifted, you can put the block there. Otherwise, walk this back foot back and then release the toes straight behind. Lengthen out of the waist and come down. Come as far forward as feels good for you. I normally put my forehead to the floor, but if I do that with the microphone on, it muffles all my voice, so I tend to stay up a bit higher. The root chakra is represented by a 4-petaled lotus, and it's also associated with our sense of smell. So all the chakras are associated with an element, a colour, one of our senses, and they're also all associated with different parts of the body, different emotions, and also with our spirituality. Inhale, come up, swing this back leg round, and just move these legs again. And we'll make our way down onto the back. Just finishing up the class in a bridge pose. So bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Reach down and touch the backs of the heels with the fingertips. Shoulders are grounded. On an inhale, pelvis lifts. Bring this up towards the sky. Imagine your knees are pushing forward towards the front of the mat, so that helps you get some length in the lower back. Palms are flat to the floor with the backs of the arms on the floor too. Feeling nice and stable in this posture. Chest is lifted. Then release down. Extend the left leg out straight, then bring the right knee into the chest for a twist. So just bringing this right knee over towards the left side of the mat. Right arm can be cactused and gaze over the right shoulder, just feeling the stretch in the glute, twisting the upper spine. Then inhale back to center. Swap legs, releasing the right leg to the floor. Right hand outside the left knee and then pulling this left knee over. Don't worry if the knee touches the floor or not. Left arm is cactus, looking over the left shoulder if it feels good on the neck, and just breathe in here. Twists is good to do at the end of the practice because they just reset the whole body. Then back to center. We'll end with Apanasana again, which is where we started, just squeezing the knees into the chest, keeping the whole length of the spine on the floor. Really deep flexion in the hips here. And then when you're ready, just slowly release one leg out at a time. Come into final relaxation, Savasana. Allow the backs of the hands to touch the earth with the palms to the sky, feet to flop open, shoulders snuggled down the back. Back of the neck is long with the chin slightly tucked. Allow yourself to melt into that support of the earth and breathe here. So each chakra has a power animal, and that power animals are animals that give us strength in times when we are in need. The qualities that they possess really help us tune into those qualities that we have deep within us. So the power animal for the root chakra is the elephant. I have a card from my spirit animal oracle deck, the elephant spirit. And this is what the elephant spirit means. The elephant spirit teaches us to learn from the past. Although we often wish we could leave the past behind, elephant spirit reminds us that memory matters. We must respect the wisdom of the elders who hand down to us traditions they have shaped to express our connection to each other and respect for the community. What has come before informs what we are experiencing today. We must never forget our legacy of strength and dignity. Elephant Spirit appears with the message that we are to acknowledge that from which came before and learn from it. All of us are memory-based creatures, and we must revisit the past to understand where we are and where we are going. The stories of events you experienced, the stories in our collective memory, and the stories of relationships you have had can be told in many ways. What story will you tell? Elephant Spirit is here to encourage you to to make it one that stirs in you a sense of power and dignity. For you have honoured yourself by choosing to learn from your past. Spirit rejoices at your willingness to learn and grow. Take another few deep breaths here in Shavasana. And then start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe interlacing the fingers above the head. Stretching the arms long, the feet and legs long in the other direction. And bring the knees in one by one into the chest. Give yourself a hug. And then when you're ready, just roll gently over onto one side. Any side will do. And just curl up there for a moment in the fetal position. This is often a position that makes us feel really safe and secure. And then when you're ready, keeping the eyes closed, begin to push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And when you reach your seated position, place the hands face down on the knees, which is a symbol of grounding and really the core of what the root chakra is. Spine is straight, eyes are closed, chin parallel to the floor, symmetry in the body. Take a deep inhale, deep exhale. Bring the palms together at the chest. And then raise the thumbs to the third eye. Bring them to the lips. And then bring them back to the heart. Sending good vibes and good thoughts, good energy to everybody all around the world. And then slowly open the eyes. So thank you for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed this quite short class on the root chakra. There's so much to the chakras. It's hard to cram it all into one class. We'll be developing a chakra course soon, a digital course that will be available. So I'll put a link below this video. If you're interested, you can just sign up to get on the wait list so you'll know exactly when I launch it. I love the chakras, I love everything about them. I think they reveal so much about us as human beings and how we interact with others and how we live our lives. So once we have awareness of them, it can really help us be better people. Take care. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.